Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Designer Head, and honestly, this one is the last one of this year. So here we are at the end of the year. I don't necessarily have a count of how many episodes I've done thus far. You can probably go to my the channel and see all the videos that I've created this year. Obviously, it's not as many as I wanted to or hoped for, but I am trying. With all the other shit that I'm doing and all the other shit that I'm planning to do and constantly on my plate, unfortunately, I don't always get to do these things regularly, only when time permits. However, so as this is our last episode of the year, and mind you, I am planning to continue this next year as well. As I mentioned, my first episode, I believe, this was an experimental for me. This was something that I didn't plan to do. I was essentially asked the community of what exactly they wanted me to do, following all the hype and everything that people are asking me to. Where can I watch the video about this thing? Or where can I watch your video from the last conversation you had with people and your monthly sessions and so on and so forth. And so I'm like, maybe I should actually have some place where I can start putting those videos out. So I will definitely continue to do so. I might actually go into podcasting as well. I don't know yet, so don't quote me on that. It's still kind of a pending thought process in my brain. However, today I want to talk about something that happened actually yesterday. Today's Monday, yesterday was Sunday. I had my last monthly session of the year, which was essentially an open mic, if you will. It was a Ask Me Anything session. And people were asking me a bunch of questions, and I was answering. Just no topic, nothing at all, just free conversation. Luckily, I didn't have too many people. Typically on my sessions, I can have anywhere between 50, 70, and upwards of 100, 150 people. But yesterday was very intimate. Yesterday, I was hoping for it to be a bit more close and less people, so we can actually have a dialogue and have a conversation with everyone involved in the session. So there was a request, if you will, and as I respond to my own community and my own followers, I do like to answer questions. So people can always ask me questions here on YouTube below the videos. Feel free, please do. I answer all of them. People ask me questions on LinkedIn. People reach out to me via email sometimes. People will sometimes send me messages on the ATP list. And the list goes on. I answer every platform, I answer every question, not immediately, but I do eventually get to every single one of them. So there was a request, and that request was, if I am coming from a non-design industry, wanting to transition into the design industry, how should I go about this? What should I do first? What should I do second, third, and so forth? So, in today's video, in this episode, the last one of the year, this is going to be the topic we'll uncover. So, without further ado, let's hit it. All right, so let's follow up from my preview. I don't know how the fuck you call these things that are, people do and I do before I do an actual video. It's just whatever. As I mentioned, yesterday I had my last monthly session for the year, and in that monthly session, it was mostly, well, not mostly, it was just a ask me anything kind of situation where the mic was open for anyone who wanted to pick up and ask me a question, and there was a bunch of great questions about transitioning into design and portfolios and resumes, applying for jobs, moving from graphic into UX, moving from one place to another. It was just really, really interesting. But the one thing that kind of stood out, and a few people actually raised their hand in support of that question, was so how do you actually, somebody who's not a designer, who's never been in the tech industry or design industry or any kind of industry that is related to this, how do you go about transitioning into this industry while you're not really knowing where to start, what to do, how to start, and so forth? And so I kind of grabbed my Remarkable, and again, I'm not sponsored by Remarkable in any way. I just truly love this little device. It's always on my desk, like literally always. This thing is remarkable. What can I say? I stopped using paper a long time ago for any kind of notes. But regardless, I'm not sponsored, have nothing to do with them. Just love the company and love the product. So I grabbed my Remarkable and I checked some notes really quickly about, hey, this sounds like an episode that I need to do and talk about because it sounds like people don't know. So here we are doing my last episode of the year on this specific subject of, if you're not a designer or any kind of designer, or you not have been in the tech industry in any kind of shape or form, what should you do? Like, you decided to change your careers, which is kudos to you. It's awesome, very brave. It's a brave step to take. But what should you do, and how should you go about this business? So let me start by saying that first, literally number one, you better damn be sure that you want to switch a career, because it's not always easy and it's not always simple. Definitely not always financially viable or financially beneficial. What I'm talking about is, if you are, and I've spoken to people in this industry, I've met some architects, for instance, right? They've been architects for 7, 8, 9, 10 years. At this point, they're probably somewhere mid-level, senior level, making a really cushiony 6-figure salary at their jobs. And so if they switch into UX or product design, they're not going to get that cushiony 6-figure salary anymore. That's going to be a junior level salary. Why? Because they don't have experience in the field. Granted, they have 7+ years of experience, for example, in a architecture world. They're creative, they're designers, they know how to do this shit, but they're not UX designers, not product designers, so they don't really know how to do that yet fully well. So they will be considered junior, right? And with junior title comes junior salary. In the United States, on average today, it's around 65, maybe 70K a year. So if you're making 150 or even 200, you're basically dropping down in your income from 150 to 70. It's by basically half. So if you truly want to transition to this world, you better be ready for that. So yeah, number one, really make sure that you really want to do that, because if you're changing your careers, odds are you're gonna start from scratch in that new career, whatever that career is. Number one. Number two, you better goddamn make sure that you truly love this industry and you truly want to do this. Not only career changing, but specifically being a UX designer or product designer or visual designer or illustrator, whatever the fuck it is, you really better make sure that you love it. In order to make sure if you love it or not, before you jump into boot camps, before you jump into courses, before you go and buy books, before you go and spend money on different conferences, there is an endless amount of resources on the internet that does not cost you a penny. Well, maybe apart from your internet cost and your time. But literally, that's it. There is a shit ton of YouTube channels and videos covering these specific topics of what does it mean to be a UX designer or product designer? What does it mean to be a UX product designer at big tech, small tech, low tech, other industries, freelancing, working at agencies, and the list goes on. You can go and check out UX Collective on Medium and find a shit ton of different articles on the subject. You can go and attend different online free conferences. You can sign up for adplist.org and go and book time with different designers, design leaders, managers, recruiters, and whatnot in the world as mentors. to talk to them and ask them questions about what does it mean to be a UX designer? What does it mean to be a product designer? How did you become one? How your transition went, if you transitioned. And all of these questions can be answered before you even kind of pull the trigger and make a decision to go and drop, I don't know, a few $100s on the course, or 10 to 15, sometimes $20,000 on a boot camp. So yes, spend the time, try to figure out if it's something you truly want to do. If you do, amazing. I can't stress this enough. I would love for this industry to have people that transition, because when you're a transitioner, you clearly make a decision to sacrifice in order to be it, in order to be that designer. And so if you're passionate about this, that's amazing. If you're not, and you're going into this for the money or for the ease of a job, because you can work from home many times or oftentimes, or in many companies, you can have a very flexible schedule, which all of this is true. However, the one thing you need to know is that if you are not truly loving this, when you're looking for a job and you're going through interviews, hiring managers like myself, we can see through it. We can see if you truly love this industry and you truly want to be a designer or not. If you're in it for the money or not. If you're in it for some other reasons apart from just genuinely wanting to be a designer, solve problems, design great products, solve and deliver amazing results for an actual users and human beings on the other side, we can sense that, we can see that. And odds are it's going to be difficult for you to find a job. So be ready for that and make sure. So we covered 2. Number 3. So you made a decision and you're sticking to it. Yes, you're ready for the fact that if you're making a lot of money right now, you might not make as much when you transition, at least for the first 2-3 years. You might not. You're ready for it. You really want to do this and you're okay with that. You're okay to take this plunge and dive into it. Amazing. Welcome to the industry. Welcome to the community. We love you. We want you to be here and we want you to succeed. Number 2, as we covered, now you went around, you watched a bunch of videos, you spoken to a bunch of mentors on ADP List, you have read a bunch of articles and so forth. What do you do now? Now is the time, if everything that you've covered thus far, your decision making, being certain of it, you read and looked at all the materials, and I watched everything, I saw everything, I learned everything thus far, and yes, I want to be it. I want to be a UX designer. I want to be a product designer, which is amazing. What is the third thing you should do? Now is the time to start getting educated. Now is the time to start doing your research to understand which courses are best for you, which books are best for you, what you should be reading, what you should be watching, what you should be learning, and where. Now, number 3 on this list is very important because it's very easy to fall into a false promises of most of the boot camps out there, promising you this amazing great career with 6-figure salary as soon as you finish your boot camp. That's not true. Oftentimes, you will drop a shit ton of money on that boot camp, and you will be sitting after that boot camp for months, if not sometimes years, without a job. Or at least without a job in that industry, feeling beaten up and feeling down and feeling that you failed and almost feeling that you should go back to your old job because you can't find a job in the new field. But the thing is, it's not your fault necessarily. Oftentimes, the boot camps do not give you all the proper tools in order to succeed in this. They don't give you the proper processes of how these processes work in the actual industry. Oftentimes, they do not teach you a lot of the things that need to be accompanied with your title, such as how to synthesize the research, not just conduct the research, not just how to conduct research, But what do you do with it post that? I've met countless of people who went through boot camps and then still came to mentors like myself and asked questions of, how do I translate my findings from the field into an actionable items that I can apply to a project? This is something a bootcamp needs to teach you, and if they don't, that's a shitty bootcamp, and they're just scamming you out of your money. So you have to do your due diligence, you have to research and understand which bootcamps, if you actually want to go for the bootcamp, will teach you everything you need to know. And if you don't know, once again, make a list of all the bootcamps that you found, make a list of all the bootcamps you think you want to go for, all the courses and whatnot. Get on a call with a mentor. Book time with people on ATP list. Ask them questions. Ask questions on LinkedIn, other communities. There is a bunch of design Slack communities. Go there, drop a list and say, hey, I'm considering joining one of these bootcamps. Which ones are good? Which ones do you people actually recommend? For instance, if you come and ask me, the first thing I'll say is, do not take the Google UX certificate course because it's useless. Why is it useless? Because it's peer-reviewed, it's not actually reviewed by a professional. So essentially, every single person in that course that does not know what UX is and transitioning into that field is basically reviewing your work. Is it helpful? No. Absolutely not. You're not gonna learn shit. You're only gonna learn vocabulary. You're gonna learn some keywords such as what is a ethnographic research, what is a qualitative research, what is a quantitative research, what is a field study, what is the usability testing, what is a user interview, what is a persona. You'll learn that. But that shit you can learn online. You can go and read that shit. But you're not gonna learn if you did something right, you did something wrong, how to learn from it, how to improve upon it. So, for my recommendation, if you want to go for a course, then please go for, and I'm gonna leave links below my video for all these places. Please go to Interaction Design Foundation. It's a UK-based organization. Their membership is around, I think, $200 a year, and all of the courses are free, and all of their certificates are industry recognizable and respected. So try and do that. Start there. What I recommend people to do on this journey, right under step number 3, is figure out the most financially affordable or financially viable way to learn everything you need to learn before you make a decision of either you do want to go for a bootcamp or you don't. I fully recognize that some people need this very structured kind of a classroom environment. Keep in mind that 90% of the bootcamps today do not have a classroom environment. They're fully online. So the only thing you get is essentially meeting with your peers online via Zoom once in a while for $10,000 or $15,000. For fuck's sakes, give me $10,000, I'll create Zoom calls for you and we can have conversations. Probably I'm gonna teach you more than a bootcamp. I'm kidding, of course. But do I? No, I'm kidding. I have zero intentions of creating my own bootcamps or any of that shit. However, I am planning of creating some mentorship programs and career coaching and leadership coaching, which I'm probably going to announce next year. So if anything, you can follow me on LinkedIn and see what I announce and when and what it's going to be and how much it might cost. I assure you, it's not going to cost as much as a bootcamp. That I can promise you. Now, courses. Find the courses for you. Do the course before you jump into the bootcamp. Do the course. See if, because the course will probably teach you the same thing as a bootcamp, but in a little bit more isolated environment. You'll still do some projects together with other people, at least on Interaction Design Foundation. You'll be part of the community. You'll have some basic interaction with other peers in the course, but you're not going to have this kind of a community environment, if you will. If that's what you're after, and you've done the course, you've read all the materials, you've done all of that, and you're like, you know what? I still want more. I still want to experience this communal environment where I can ideate and work through problems and whatnot in a group of other peers, of other people who are as equally transitioning into this field and learning with me. Amazing. Thus far, there is only one bootcamp that I am aware of, at least in the United States, that does physical classes. At least before the pandemic, and I believe now they gotten back to it. It is General Assembly. It is probably, I think, the oldest boot camp existing in the States in the world of design, web development, and some other engineering. They actually have facilities across the entire United States, or at least in big cities, where you have campuses where you can go and be in a class with other people, physical interaction, you can ideate with them, you can work through problems with them, and they also provide an alumni support. So post your graduation, you still have access to the facilities, you can still utilize their job fairs, you can still utilize their other offers in order to help you succeed and grow in this industry. So if you made a decision that after everything we just talked about, that you still want to go for a boot camp, I would probably recommend going for General Assembly, not any other. But that's just my personal opinion, maybe a little bit biased. Even though, again, I'm not sponsored by them in any shape or form, neither am I sponsored by Interaction Design Foundation. I just like these places. I've personally experienced them, I've personally vetted them, I've personally taken some courses there myself. General Assembly 2016, just because I wanted to understand that there's something I don't know in the industry, and I learned a few things, not a lot, but a few. Luckily, it was paid by a company I was working at the time, so I didn't have to pay for everything out of my own pocket. So we covered number one. You made a decision and you're solid and you're sticking to it. You have learned as much as you could learn through free materials of YouTube, articles and whatnot about the industry, and you still want to be it. Number three, you have went and completed a course or a boot camp if you decided to go and take a boot camp, or you just self-taught yourself, which is also great. I kind of did that years ago. So you covered all three things thus far. What do you do next? How do you go about next things? Number four on this kind of a list that we're going through is go out and review other people's portfolios, speak to other designers, and then sit down and work on your story. Yes, you heard me right. I didn't say work on your case study. I did not say work on your portfolio. I did not say work on your resume. I said work on your story. Your story, and you could probably watch videos on that, on my video on that. I'm probably gonna link below or put it in one of the corners or however it works. Your story is what is going to be selling you, because your story is incredibly important to hiring managers to see if you are somebody they want on their team. And do not, I'm going to repeat it again, do not ignore your previous experience. Doesn't matter where you fucking came from. Doesn't matter if you used to be a janitor, doesn't matter if you used to be a car mechanic, doesn't matter if you used to be a lawyer, architect, doctor, psychologist, nutritionist, scientist, I don't know, astronaut. Doesn't matter where you came from, but it has to be there. And the reason why is because a lot of people don't understand that hiring managers like myself, people who've been in the industry for a long time, when we see your other experience before you became a designer, it tells us a lot about who you are. It tells us about your other skills. It tells us about your other abilities that you're bringing to the table. That's what makes you stand out. That's what makes you unique among all the other portfolios that we're typically going to look at when we're hiring for a position. So do not ignore it. Watch my video on crafting your story, and please craft your story, because that's going to be very helpful. Now, once you've crafted your story, that's how you then move on to your portfolio, case studies, and so forth, and start building your portfolio. I think I also have a video on portfolios. My memory is a little shaky on this right now. If I do, I will link down below. If not, I'm gonna be creating one probably next year. So follow me on YouTube for that. So we've covered 4 things today on literally step by step of how do you move from any industry into UX industry or design industry or product design industry and so forth. Literally from anywhere into this. I have another video on transitioning from X to UX, where I cover a lot of these topics as well, and I cover more and I dive a little deeper into some of these things. I'll link that video below as well. I hope this was helpful. If you have questions, if you disagree with something that I said, if you want to support something that I said, please comment down below. Very helpful. Also, I'm gonna ask, this is the end of the year, I did not ask I believe in any videos. Please share, like, comment below for this video so the algorithm of YouTube can pick it up and spread it to more people. If you find this information useful and if you find my videos helpful, it'll be immensely useful to spread it across, because my goal is to try and help the community as much as I can. I have been doing this for many, many years, but more on steroids since the pandemic hit, because I got more time to do that since I didn't have to commute to the office. So once again, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you, all of you who've been supporting me, following me, supporting this channel, sharing my videos, liking my videos, and so forth this year. It's been amazing. It's been a journey that I did not expect to be the way it is today. I had no idea that I'm gonna have hundreds of supporters and hundreds of followers. I had no idea if it's gonna be at this level within the first year of doing this. As I said, I started this as an experiment, but clearly I think it's thus far proving to be fairly successful. So I'm gonna continue going forward into next year with this. And again, everyone have an amazing Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, any other holiday you celebrate this year, this time of the holiday period. Happy holidays, Happy New Year. Hopefully your new year is gonna be absolutely fucking amazing. And as always, never stop learning.